All right,
Oh,
cool.
wow, they notify.
Yeah.
That's fancy.
So welcome to Steeping DIY, guys.
Thanks
How
for
are
having
you
us.
guys today?
We're good. We're good.
Yeah.
It's a nice day. It's very hot. I was just outside working and I just got home, so that's why I'm a little late. But I'm glad to be back indoors in the AC.
Nice.
Feel that.
Yeah, it is pretty hot out today. It's a bit of a
Yeah.
scorcher.
How are you guys feeling?
I'm pretty good.
Good.
Not too bad. Work today, so happy to not be at work anymore.
That's a good thing.
Happy to just have a day off. So yeah, let's just get right into it. So how has life been for you guys, like since releasing the album? Essentially, has like anything changed?
Anybody want to go? I have things to say.
Yeah. I guess for me, are we answering individually? Or are we answering like as a full unit here, or is this
You can do either or. Like it's up to you guys.
I think for all of us, very generalized. It was very it's definitely a big relief for sure to have it finally out, and there's so much anticipation leading up to the release, and now that it's out, it's like the reception that we've gotten and the feedback and all of the response has just been kind of overwhelming. It's been nothing but positive, which is absolutely incredible. And I know for me, it's definitely been life's been a little less stressful. You know what I mean? Like it's definitely a little bit, especially now that we've also just performed at our record release show. Everything going into that was there's a lot of work into that as well. So now it's just like I feel like things are a lot more easygoing. You know what I mean? And the response is just so positive. It's I'm very grateful for it.
Yeah.
Well
Were you-
said.
Were you guys expecting to get like such well reception for the album?
I think I knew that the record was good, and I knew that it was better than our other material. So I would play like tricks with myself. Like when I would listen to the record, I'd be like, nah, people are gonna like this. There's no way people aren't gonna love this. Like this is a good record. And then I would be like, oh, but what if it's just like the same exact reaction we've always gotten, and it's just like the small amount of people that know us, and it's a very small thing, and then it's over and done with after a few days. And like it was just like a back and forth thing of like, what if it's the same as it always was and that it always will be? Or like, is this record good enough to be better than that? Which so my the good part of my brain was correct.
It's really cool to hear.
Yeah.
So is it true that you guys took like a trip to Maine to make this album?
Kinda. We took a trip to Maine in it was 2020, right? It was like August 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we wrote like one song up there, but like that was where like the new vibe came into play, where we're like, oh, we should be louder and we should have more like of a punk vibe, or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, that was a fun time.
But
I
we
didn't even
had
know where in Maine it was.
it was like in the middle of
town.
nowhere because we couldn't find an Airbnb in a cool part of Maine. So it was just in the middle of nowhere, which ended up being the vibe. But we went on another trip, like I want to say like 7 months later, maybe, yeah, like 6-7 months later, or 6. And that was like the record of where that was the trip. We went to Pennsylvania in the winter, and that's really where we wrote the record. Like we went on a trip to Maine, and that's how the record was kind of born. But then the second trip, which was with Jack because he couldn't make it on the first trip, that was where we actually we demoed 7 out of the 12 songs, and I want to say half of them were written there. Like
really?
Some of them were written on the spot. A lot of parts were written on the spot. So that second trip is really like a lot of the writing process.
Yeah,
for sure. Like we went into that cabin with only like 2 or 3 songs and maybe an idea or two, and Jack brought his recording equipment with him, and we left that cabin in Benton, Pennsylvania, with 7 demos ready to go, and a couple ideas as well to build off of that led to the rest of the record in some ways, for sure.
Yeah.
I think the funniest part about that trip is how we left, because it was like a huge snowstorm and the driveway was like a big like S shape going down. It was like very steep. So we couldn't have our van at the top because it was just all icy and there's no way we could have driven it down. So the Airbnb owner had his neighbor come up with a tractor, and we were loading our amps and Jack's computer and our luggage into like the bucket of a tractor going down this icy hill.
Wow.
And the not only that, but we didn't demo or write all of those songs until the very last day of that trip. And we weren't even supposed, like, we got stuck because it was like during a crazy snowstorm, and we got stuck there. Like, we couldn't leave or get out of the house so we had to stay at the Airbnb like longer than what the time that we had paid for. And that extra day that we spontaneously had is when we demoed and wrote all of it. So
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Wow, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. At least you guys have like that story you can tell too about
Yeah.
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah. Imagine if you never got snowed in.
Right?
Right.
That would have sucked.
Wow. Did you guys have any specific songs you enjoyed more than others when you were creating it?
Like in the writing process or in the recording process?
I'm gonna go with both, honestly.
I don't.
There were definitely some songs that came more naturally. Like the song "Slut" was like, I feel like that came about
Not
pretty quickly.
naturally.
You don't think so?
No,
Okay, so
We played around with that song for years.
yeah,
that's the same with "Okay." Like "Okay," we had so many different arrangements of that song.
Yeah.
And like we kept on trying stuff, even up to the studio. Like in the studio, we changed a lot of the album, but the song, I think "Pixie," we kind of had that pretty quickly.
yeah.
And like that
I was
fun, 'cause that's just a
actually
fast
gonna
song.
say "Lush" was a song where we thought for sure it was like the perfect structure in the beginning. Like, I loved the way it was. I was like, we're not touching the way that this is. Like, this song is finished. And then we got to the studio and it's totally different. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I loved "Lush." Like, I thought "Lush" was gonna be like a really big song before the studio. And then once we got to the studio, there's songs that I didn't think, like, nobody thought that "Jado" was that cool of a song at all until the studio, when we were all like, holy shit, the song is great. So a lot of the songs, really, like the songs that we didn't hear that life and love to, like love and life, came together in the studio. And then there's songs that, some came together before the studio, but
Very cool.
yeah.
Yeah, "Lush" is actually one of my favorites on the project, actually. So it's really interesting to hear that.
Oh, really? Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool. That's actually the only song that was from start to finish written on the spot in that cabin. Like, there wasn't even that idea. There was no, that didn't exist until the cabin. Like, it wouldn't have existed if it wasn't for that
And
cabin.
I think we did the whole song there too.
We did the whole song there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's pretty amazing.
Right. I was actually going to ask, when you guys were talking about like how you didn't really know where you wanted to go with this album, because you're like, oh, we don't know if we want to continue like where we were at with the first one. Like, I feel like that's always a big thing in an artist's career, like the sophomore album. Did you guys did it bother you at all? Did it push you to change the sound? Like,
So I think with this record, Slime, there was definitely like I guess the creative input was definitely split a lot more. It was split in 4 ways. I wouldn't even say evenly, but like this was the records that from start to finish, me, Jill, Brennan, and Jack all had a say in, and all brought influences that we grew up listening to ourselves to the table, and we all kind of collaborated on that. And this was definitely that record that, like, I like to think this record kind of wrote itself in a lot of parts, because, like, obviously it was kind of conceived during quarantine, so there was a lot of all of those feelings of being trapped inside, you know, shit sucks, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, but I like to think we all really had a hand on the wheel in steering how the record came out. And, like, there wasn't a time where we all decided, like, oh, we need this to be more heavier. Oh, we need this to lay back a little bit. It just kind of happened. You know what I mean? Like, depending on which song it was, there was definitely a feel to it. And then from that initial feel of how that song started out, we would just kind of layer in and make it work. And ultimately that's how this record came out. I don't think there was any I do remember actually kind of feeling like, yo, this is going to be way heavier than Sugar Cup.
Yeah. Don't you guys remember when after?
What's up, Joe?
Don't you remember when after we demoed and we recorded all the songs, like we did half of them. We recorded half of the demos in the cabin. We all went downstairs to the kitchen and we sat down and we were like, Jack said something and he was like, this is heavy. Like, this is way heavier than our last stuff. And I was like, oh shit, like, should we not do this? Like, what if nobody likes it? Like maybe we should kind of tone it back a little bit. Like, I remember feeling really apprehensive about it, like being like, oh, like, I don't know, like, maybe, like, what if no, like, I don't know if we should go in this direction. And now
we're all just like, nah, we're doing it.
Yeah. And now I'm like, oh, we could have been more heavy on this record.
That's so cool to hear. Yeah, that's exactly like what I was kind of looking to hear, because it's always the challenge when it comes to that, because you're establishing your sound with that first album and then you're going into that second one and everybody's like, man, what's to come, you know? So
yeah,
For sure.
And it's crazy because, like, we get the biggest responses and we have the most streams, like, on our heaviest songs. Like, people like the heaviest ones for some other reason. So
no going back.
Yeah, no going back now.
No.
Brandon actually just texted me. I think it was this morning or yesterday, saying, help, I can't stop writing really heavy riffs. They're too heavy. So we'll see.
It's definitely like, because I've been listening to, like, a lot of Slayer recently, so it's like a lot of that, and even that's like too much. We can't go that far yet. We got to build up to the Slayer phase
one day. That's really cool. So you guys also just signed with I Surrender in 2021, right? How has that whole experience been?
It's definitely been life-changing for us. Career-wise.
It's great.
Yeah. We met with Rob in May of 2021, and once we learned he was vegan, me and Dan were like, yeah, because me and Dan are vegan or two. So yeah, we signed with I Surrender in June, and it was the first label that we've ever signed to, obviously. But it's really nice because, like, they're very much like, you know, the difference between I Surrender and, like, a lot of other labels is that, like, they don't have 15 bands. They don't even have 20. Like, they have, like, small, like, a very, very small roster. Like, they don't sign that many bands. They sign, like, one band per, like, 2 years. So the focus is very, very close. You know what I mean? Like, we're very close. Like, you know, we could just text the label if we need anything, and it's just like, it's a close family, you know. So they care very deeply for us. I think so. It's really nice because it's like the whole team is kind of just like a family, you know.
Yeah. Right, because it's always nice to want to be working with people who want to actually see you grow,
exactly,
rather than getting numbers for them.
Exactly. So it's definitely been a ride, and we're very thankful with the decision that we had made, and it's helped us a lot, like, with everything. Like, we wouldn't have been able to do pretty much anything the way we did it with Slime if we didn't have I Surrender on our side, doing, you know, giving us what we want and rooting for us and believing in the demos that we had sent them in the first place.
Right. That's really good.
Yeah.
Nice when you hear about people who like that label that we're working with.
Yeah. Yeah, we're fortunate.
Good.
Yeah. First signed with them too. They definitely like exceeded our expectations and what we were, hoping for, which was really awesome. And as Jill said, it's a very close working team, and it's not a lot going at once. They're not just like, here, take this, I'm busy, you know what I mean? They're working with us there. And they also, one thing I want to mention is because of that record deal, we were able to kind of give life into Sugarcoat, our EP, you know what I mean? Like, we released that right at the beginning of quarantine, it feels like. And because of that, it kind of flopped. So we didn't really have much room to grow with that EP, but luckily signing to I Surrender, they were able to give a little bit more life into that record. We released the deluxe, of course, and we were able to
Get some
make more
vinyl.
it for sure. So
We
I
were
just
able to get vinyl. We got vinyl.
And
Sugarcoat
it's
vinyl.
available now. You can buy
Oh,
it.
right.
Oh.
Very cool. That's really cool. I'm glad that you guys got to like get that pressed too.
Yeah. And like I Surrender is great because they love vinyl, and so like we're fortunate enough to like have cool ass looking vinyl for Sugarcoat, and we have 2 different variants for Slime, so we're very happy.
That's so good. So following up with like signing and all of that, do you have any advice to like current like DIY bands that are like trying to get to that point in their music career?
You just got to find the right spot. Like, don't be like, also like, this is very new to us too. So like, I'm just saying what worked for us is just being, open to everything. And you got to like know what you're looking for and like what kind of label, because there's so many labels out there that are for like all different genres and sizes. So it's like, you could find what works for you if you put the effort in.
I agree with that. I also think like I think helping like the biggest thing with like going forward and like signing to a label, or just like a DIY band like trying to like go to the next step, is like taking advice from like everybody. Like, you don't have to, like, you can take everything with a grain of salt, but when you're not stubborn about things and you're open to hearing everybody's different perspectives on how to do things, because like 10 different managers or 10 different, like, they'll tell you the same general things, but everybody does things differently. Like, not one same thing works for every band, and like everybody has their own methods and this and that, and their own ways of doing things. And like listening, they're all right in different ways. So listening to all of those people or industry professionals and taking it with a grain of salt and figuring out like just trial and error of like what works for you, that's the best way to go about it, because everybody's most likely, unless they're an asshole and they don't know what they're talking about, they're probably going to have some good advice, which you should take into consideration. Not every word go by exactly just one person, but I just think like listening to other people's advice and like being open to accepting that help, and not just thinking that the one way that you want to do things is going to work is the biggest thing,
Right.
I'd
Very
like to
well said.
I'd like to add, if you're a DIY band trying to take that step out of the DIY rather, it's like, be hungry and have a plan. Like, whether you have label support in the near future or not should not dictate what you are going to do and what your plans are. You know what I mean? Like, be confident in yourself, be confident in your sounds, have something to give, and don't stop sharing it either. Put in the work, advertise yourself, go promote yourself at shows, you know what I mean? Run lines, do all the things, just get your name out there the best way you can. And eventually people will notice that, people will pick up on that, and they'll start giving you that advice that Jill's talking about, you know what I mean? It's up to you whether or not you take it and what you do with it, but ultimately you got to stay hungry for it and you got to put in the work. It's some people get stupid lucky, I feel like we got lucky in the sense that we were able to have an offer brought forth to us from I Surrender But that was only because we put in the work. You know, we had a vision for what we wanted and we were hungry for it. So we got lucky there. But you can't expect anything either. Don't set your expectations too high, because then you're doomed to fail, in my opinion. Just keep putting in the work where you're at now. Make sure everyone hears what you're doing to the best of your ability, and don't stop that, you know, not for a second.
Yeah. And to even add to that, like when we had pitched to a few labels and I Surrender like shot us an offer, I want to say when a few months after Brandon joined the band, and we were doing this for a while, like we've been a band, me and Dan have been going for this, like doing the same thing and essentially the same project since we were 14. We pitched to labels like a shit ton. Like we pitched to like a lot of labels and not one was interested. We got turned down from every single label. This is in 2019. And that didn't stop us from making like cool music videos for Sugarcoat and like doing what we could, you know, like we still did our best. We still went on tour. We still like did what we could. And then like, even though it was like discouraging, we came back, repitched to labels, and then now here we are with I Surrender. So it's just like, sometimes it's just not going to work. And then you try again. Eventually you keep going independently. You try again next year, and then it might not work again. Then you try again the year after, and maybe it will work, you know?
Right. Just got to keep at it.
Yeah.
And it's super motivating, honestly. It's
Yeah.
really good to hear that, you know, because it really is all just the grind. You got to just keep on going.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
For sure. Those are all such great answers. I'm like a little starstruck here.
Yeah, that kind of relates to one of my questions where like I kind of was just asking like what made music like more of a profession for you guys rather than just a hobby, but I feel like you kind of answered that almost in that question.
I mean, we always wanted it to be a profession. I think all of us always wanted that, you know? Obviously when we were like kids, we didn't know what the hell we were doing, and it was just fun. But like, even when it was just fun, in my like, you know, in my small brain when I was 15, like I was like, if we were able to do this all the time, then that would be fun all the time, you know? So
And now you guys get to do it all the time.
Yeah.
So that must be pretty rewarding.
Well,
We're almost there.
You're almost there. Yeah.
we'll get back to you when we don't have jobs.
There you go. So the last thing I actually wanted to, I had two things actually I wanted to ask you guys. So you guys are about to go on tour, right? Like in the fall?
Oh yeah.
What are you guys most excited for that?
I'm sorry?
What are you most excited for on the tour?
Literally just about the last question, just to be able to do it every day, you know, because like when we're on tour, that's our only responsibility is to get to the next show and put on a good show. And, you know, that's what I like doing.
Yeah.
I just want to get out there.
Well said.
Very nice.
Yeah, I think like we went like 7 months without playing a show until literally 4 days ago when we played our release show. And like we knew we were all kind of like it honestly kind of like, I don't know if you guys can agree with me, but like it kind of felt like cabin fever. And then once we played the show, I was like, oh my God, this is what we were missing out on. This is why life sucked for like 7 months. This is why everything sucked, because we didn't do this, you know? And like, it's just like, there's nothing better than that, in my opinion. Like recording is like amazing. And that's like probably my another favorite thing to do. But like, I think the number one thing that is my favorite thing to do being in a band, like playing music, is being able to play live shows, especially if it's every night. Like that's my number one favorite thing out of everything that we have to do, that we want to do, that's creative, that's fun, that's musical. It's like the greatest time, you know, it's the greatest experience. And touring is just like the greatest thing, because not only are you playing shows every night with your best friends, but you're traveling. So that's what I'm most excited for, like traveling.
I absolutely agree with that. And I think one other thing worth mentioning about this tour that I'm most excited for, two things, I guess. is this is our first time going to the West Coast. We've Jill and I have been touring since we were 16 years old, but we've never done a full US all the way out to the West Coast. We're from New Jersey here. And that's something I'm really looking forward to, as well as all of the food from everywhere. There's so much
That's
good
what
food.
Jack would say.
Yeah, that's exactly what
Jack
Jack
would say food.
If
Yes.
Jack was here, he would say food.
Exactly, yeah. So definitely the food as well. I'm also super stoked to be touring with bands like Forever Came Calling and Home Safe. I've, looked up to them since I was a wee little lad, and here I am opening for them. So that's
Fun
something
fact.
extremely excited about for sure.
Fun fact, me and Dan, before we went by Pollyanna, we went by another name when we were like, I think we changed the band name to Pollyanna when we were 17, or I was 17, in 2017. Anyway, I think it was January of either 25th, it had to have been 2016. We played with Home Safe. And I don't think they remember, and I hope they don't remember because we sucked. But now it all comes full circle because we're going on a tour with them. Do you remember that, Dan?
I do, yeah. That was that Game Changer World.
Yep.
All stage. We were the opening bands, and yeah, full circle for sure. That is a fun fact for sure.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And is it true that you guys used to follow like the Warped Tour? I think I saw that on like TikTok.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So I for a couple years,
when we were in 2017, we did it a little bit.
Yeah, 2017 we did for like a week, and then 2018, the last year of Warped Tour, Jill and I were just like, screw it, we're doing as much as we can. And we hopped on, and we were just hustling lines every morning, accepting donations for these CDs that we printed ourselves, that we burned ourselves on a laptop in the truck we were driving in. And yeah, we followed Warped Tour for a pretty substantial amount of time. It was like just over 2 weeks, I think.
And then we became a catering band. We like somehow got ourselves in, and Dan, you could talk about the catering band life.
Yeah, being a band following and running lines and stuff, you'll also bump into other people. And one of the people we bumped into was actually a caterer, which was a band who was on the tour as a employee. So essentially what a catering band on the Warped Tour is you're essentially helping out with the kitchen. You're serving the band's food and stuff. And it was so awesome for us because we were these two like 17, 18-year-old little, punks just scooping green beans and freaking Ritz crackers onto our favorite band's plates who were playing that day. And another cool thing about that was we were able to eat the food after we were, done doing that. So we were fed
quit bragging.
Which was pretty cool. What'd you say, Brandon?
He said, "Oh, quit bragging."
No, it was green tight. Bean and Ritz crackers.
I mean, that's not even the worst of it. Brendan, you know what I had to do? And I remember contemplating my life at this part. Dan was doing not dirty work. I had to squeeze meat out of this tube, like plastic tube, and it was like meatloaf or some shit, or like for chili, and I had to squeeze them, and my hands got covered with meat, and I had to squeeze the meat, and it was like into this big pot, and I had to do it, and I remember squeezing the meat out of the tube into the pot, and I was like, wow, I would do anything to play in a band because this is fucking horrible.
Yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much the gist of catering band. It's like you were given pretty much full access to the tour, so long as you were helping out around the kitchen, helping out feed the bands and stuff. And because of us being able to work our way into catering and then work our way up to full access passes of the thing, we were able to actually play a date or two on Warped Tour before unfortunately we had to stop following due to a car accident where Jill and I almost died, but here we are. Let's go.
Yep.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was our Warped Tour experience. We would hustle the lines city to city. I didn't have my license at the time, so Jill was the one freaking hauling the country. Mad props to Jill for that.
Yeah, that's why we're very careful on tour, and we try to break the drives up very evenly and make sure that we're all not tired. And it's like that definitely made me want to be more cautious and like be very careful of.
We're very tame on tour. We don't go to like bars. We'll go back to the hotel and make like vegan mac and cheese, you know.
They don't eat too much cookies.
Yeah, we'll have a tummy ache and have to sleep in the middle between the beds.
Yeah,
Is he frozen right now?
he might be frozen.
Oh,
Dan, are you frozen?
oh no.
Looks like he's frozen.
He might have to re-enter.
It's a funny face for him to be frozen at. It looks like he's just mad.
Oh no.
Oh man. Dan, are you okay in there? He's
You
fine.
mad? It's okay.
Oh,
There it
oh,
goes.
he's not. Oh no.
He'll come back in.
Yeah, we can wait for him.
He got stuck in the matrix.
It happens to all of us.
In
Okay.
the,
I think the
the
last-
upside down.
Go ahead.
Oh, I said he's in the upside down. You guys Stranger Things fans?
Yes, I actually just finished it last night.
Me too.
It was so sad.
I didn't watch it.
I can't
What
wait
did
for
you
the next part.
It's
So excited.
well, it's gonna be 5 years ahead of in time when they go to season 5.
Really?
Mhm.
They're doing like a time jump, yeah.
Oh boy.
hmm
It's probably because it's gonna take so long to put out that they have to have a reason for all these characters to look so old.
Yeah. Shows like that take so long to film. Like I used to work
Yeah.
in the film industry. It's terrible how long it like takes to make a show.
I can't believe they go that much dedication, like by actually taking that many years to spend, you know.
There's so much that goes into that show. Like this last part, like the last episode was like 2.5 hours long.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
It's like a movie. Yeah, like a
Yeah.
like film. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't.
Oh
watched-
yeah, wait. When does this come out?
Like this podcast episode.
Yeah.
So hopefully within a week of like, so once like we end the recording with you guys, I'm gonna send it over to our editor and hopefully we can get it out within the next week. So possibly by next Friday.
Okay. Because
Yeah.
speaking of Stranger Things, we are putting out a T-shirt that is like Metallica.
Oh, I was supposed to announce that 7
Metallica
minutes
logo.
ago, but it's fine. I'm announcing it right after this interview.
Very cool. That's really cool to see.
Can
I'll
you,
show it to you.
can you see it?
I was literally-
Oh, that's sick.
That's sick.
And then
That's
there's
really
a white one, but it
cool.
doesn't look.
Oh,
There's Dan. He says he's trying.
does he need another link for it?
he should have the link.
Okay.
Um, he's also in his basement, which is why he probably has terrible service.
Yeah, it looks like he's at his like in-home gym.
It does.
Hello.
Welcome back.
He sounds like a bird. Hello.
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 Hello. You got me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
All
Can we
right.
move off of the Warped Tour subject? Because I had one thing to add.
You can go back to it for sure.
All right.
Okay. The one thing, sorry, excuse my poor mixed up connection. The one thing I wanted to add about that is I think it's incredibly super cool and very humbling as well to see people like just DM us or messaging us with a pic. What the fuck is so funny? What's going on? Why are you laughing? What?
You're,
I wanna
you're
know.
cutting out a little bit. You're cutting out a little
It sounded
bit.
very dramatic. It was
Like
cool.
very robotic.
It's incredibly
Reason
I'm sorry. dude.
Oh
That's
no.
okay.
He's not-
Oh God.
Brendan,
Oh,
you started it. I couldn't help but laugh because you were laughing.
I know. No, like I think this happened recently. Like we were doing an interview and like he kept on getting choppy service. He gets like mad that he doesn't. It keeps crapping out on him. Sorry, Dan.
Are we there? Am I in?
Oh,
you're
Oh,
here.
nice and
better.
clear.
Nice
Oh,
and
Oh,
clear.
loud and clear.
Oh,
hello.
You got
We're here
good.
for you, bud.
All right.
I'm in.
okay.
I'm in.
I'm better.
Great.
There we
All right.
go.
Cool. All right. The one thing I wanted to add about the Warped Tour thing is I think it's super cool and humbling that people are like DMing us with pictures of the CDs that Jill and I were handing out and
Mhm.
like just being like, yo, the new record's insane. I still have this. Congrats, keep it up. That type of stuff to me is like what it's all about. It's really cool to see just random people we promoted to on those lines of Warped Tour, just like DMing us and being
Now.
what we're doing now.
Yeah.
All right, continue.
That's really cool though that you can see that there are people who've
Yeah.
been following you for
Yeah,
that long. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
really cool. Like there's fans from Warped Tour that like are still fans now. So it's cool.
What did I miss? Can somebody give me the Spark Notes?
Oh, you
We were
really you were just
Talking
bullshit.
about a bunch of random stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sick.
Didn't miss anything crazy. But those were all of my questions specifically. Kurt, I don't know if you had any more on your end.
I mean, nothing super deep. Honestly, like I was just gonna ask the typical question, where's the name from? Pollyanna, what's the inspiration? Because I think Green Day instantaneously. So
Yeah.
They copied us.
It's actually this band North Star put out an album that we all really love.
That's
And,
not true.
no. Everyone asks us that though. There's a North Star album. Is that what the album is
Yeah,
called?
I think it's
Pollyanna.
yeah.
But that's not it. They
go
Dan, I
ahead.
think found it in a dictionary.
Yeah, Jill and I were in art class our junior year of high school, and I was just flipping through a dictionary because we were planning on rebranding, and I found this one word that described us to a T, which was illogically optimistic, and that is exactly what Jill and I are. So
Yeah.
I was like, "Hey, that's a good one. How do you feel?" And Jill said, "I love it," and that's how Pollyanna came to be.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah, there's no like crazy lore there.
Yeah.
There's
okay.
word in a
But
book.
it's very fitting, I think, with like the definition. I think it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I think it's a good name for you guys.
For sure.
Wasn't the original one like Chasing the Sun?
Chasing down sunset.
Chasing down sunsets.
That's when we played with Home Safe.
Gotcha. Wow. That's really cool though.
Yeah.
So now
Oh,
we're
you did your research.
Oh yeah. I literally was like, I gotta make sure I at least know something while I'm
I love
talking to them. Yeah. Plus I really did enjoy your guys' album a lot. So I wanted to like, immerse
Thank you.
myself.
You.
We do this segment though called Reddit Roulette. So I'm basically gonna give you guys 2 headlines for 2 Reddit threads. You guys can pick which one you want to hear.
Okay.
So what I have, these ones are like fairly tame. We didn't want to go too crazy with them this week. So they're both from a Am I the Asshole thread. So here's the first one. Am I the asshole? I went on vacation with my friend and her family, but they kicked me out. I got my own room and I stayed. Am I the asshole for staying and not going home like asked? Or am I the asshole for blowing up at my husband for messing with my alarm and causing me to miss my exam?
I like the first one because if that was me, I would have stayed on the vacation.
Yeah,
too.
that's
I'm
it.
not
That sounds like you wrote the first one, Brandon.
going right.
All right. so
I think neither of them are the asshole.
right. I mean, yeah, I agree with you on that one.
If somebody messed with my alarm and was the reason why I was late to work, I would definitely not talk in like I would try to not like scream, but like I would definitely be like, what the
Right,
fuck?
yeah.
You know? It would be like a more of a high register tone.
Which is like fair,
Yeah.
or screwing.
And then
with
the
it.
other thing, like, I don't want to go home,
Yeah.
So
Wait, so the first one was the person's an asshole for not going home when they were asked to, and the other person an asshole because, or may or may not be an asshole because they got their alarm screwed with.
And she
and
blew up on her husband.
Threw up?
She blew up, like she got mad at him.
Oh, okay. I
We'll
think they're
have more detail as to why they're so mad.
Yeah.
So it's up to you guys to try what you want to hear.
What is that?
I say the first one. That's my vote.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
First one.
All right. I am in college, and my roommate from last year, Meg, whose family is very rich, said she could bring a friend on vacation. It was kind of awkward because she told me I was her third choice, but her family vetoed the first two because they didn't want her bringing a boy or this other friend of hers that they did not like. Her parents bought my plane ticket and booked the resort, which was I was very grateful for, and I saved a lot of my own money so I could make sure to buy my own food, activities when I'm there, and to treat their family to a dinner as a thank you for the ticket. But then when the trip started, it was bad. It was her mother, her father, two of her father's friends, and her three brothers going. So like they got a whole gang of them. On the flight, they all sat in first class, and I was the only one who rode in economy. But I didn't say anything because why would I argue about something like a free ticket? The first night they went to a grocery. It turns out they wanted to cook at the resort kitchen for the whole trip. And by they wanted to cook, it actually turned out that they wanted me and Meg to cook. I wasn't warned about this, but it turns out Meg's family is super traditional, that they see cooking as a woman's job. And her mom had just had hand surgery. So like that's your first red flag there. So it was her and Meg cooking every meal for 6 men and her mom. I can't cook well. I know a couple staple meals to feed myself, but since I rarely eat meat, I don't know how to cook it. I'm also okay at cooking for 1 or 2, but I have no practice cooking for a group of 9. I screwed up, undercooked chicken, and overcooked some steak, and her father was angry with me. I got short with him and told him that if he knew how to do better, he could pitch in instead of standing around criticizing me. He got furious and said that this was his vacation. I said that I was trying to have a vacation too, or did they invite me to be an unpaid domestic servant? Sorry, this is like a mouthful. Meg's parents and dad's friends got angry. I said that and started yelling at me. The argument escalated and I sarcastically called myself the help. His dad snapped at me and told me to get out of their suite and to go home. Didn't tell me how to get home or how they expected me to do that. I left and called the airline with my ticket and asked them if they could do anything to prevent anyone from modifying or canceling it. They let me set a passcode and no changes could be made to the flight. Then I went to the resort desk to ask about rooms, saying I was stranded unexpectedly. They actually did have some affordable rooms, so I was able to book one. I got money and I got a discount and I still had money to do touristy stuff. I went sightseeing and relaxed on the beach for 3 days. And then I ran into her parents. They were taking a walk and did a double take seeing me on the beach. They said they thought I was going home, and I said I decided to stay. They were angry because they saw me staying and using the return flight as having deceived them into thinking I couldn't afford a vacation and using them for flights when I actually couldn't afford things. Am I the asshole for staying on that vacation and using the flight home? Or should I have gone?
Nah.
That's crazy.
Fuck her. Oh, her parents. Yeah, that's dumb. She's not an asshole.
She's not an
I
asshole.
agree.
So kudos.
Yeah, I blame Meg.
Yeah, for real. What was Meg doing?
You should have
Yeah.
forewarned her.
Like, should have told her.
Yeah. Bad friend.
Really
Bad
bad friend.
Who goes on vacation to cook every night?
Right? Like, I get it. Like, maybe like doing it once or twice while you're there to save some money, but like every single night,
Yeah.
like you're
That's
staying at
crazy.
home at that point.
We're forgetting about the misogyny part.
Yeah. Like, also, like the fact that only the women were cooking there. And there's like
Yeah.
a majority of men.
And
on
the
boat.
dad brought his 2 friends.
Yeah. Like, there's grown men who know how to cook there.
So,
Yeah, they probably would have cooked just like meatloaf or like,
Burn
frozen
it.
chicken patties.
Just all that processed garbage.
And
Yeah.
hold
Man, you
on,
about to drop a beat?
the mom had a burnt hand.
A broken hand. She had just like had hand surgery.
I mean, like, I'm with y'all on everything else, but like at worst, right? The mom could have been like, hey, like season that a little more or whatnot. You know what I mean? Even though this whole thing's already a fuck scenario, you know, like she should have gone out of there from the minute she heard she was the third choice. But yeah, I don't know, dude. Like, take advantage of that. You're at a resort, you're on vacation, you know, you don't need your friend's family to enjoy that. So I don't think
Right,
she's
like,
I
you're
wonder
already
where
there.
it was.
I know it
I
doesn't
was curious
say.
too.
I tried to read in the comments to find it. It doesn't mention it.
Yeah,
But yeah, that was
Sounds
a
like
bit
it has to be
roulette for you
tropical.
today.
I loved it. Thank you. Thank you.
And then the last thing we do on the show is, have you guys ever heard the game We're Not Really Strangers?
I
No.
think so.
So
Yeah. I just forget what it entails.
so it's this game in this little red box.
Yep.
Like known for the red box.
I've played it.
Yeah, it's a good game to help like develop relationships with people and to know them better. So what we did is we pulled a card to ask you guys today on the show.
Ooh.
So the
Oh,
one we
cool.
got here for you guys is, how does one earn your vulnerability?
ruin my vulnerability.
Earn.
Earn.
That's such a hard question.
Yeah.
So deep.
I'm gonna have to try.
Like a complete stranger. How does one just win me over like that? Is that what she's saying?
Sure.
Hmm.
Like, how does one get the chance to get to know you? Like, how do you let someone in? What's the tell?
I have to like you. Like I use like, first it's the vibe. You know, it's the energy that I get from the person. Then the second thing I look for is that person only talking about themselves, and when I say something, do they push it away directly after I say something about myself, or are they also able to have a conversation versus just listening to them talk? That's my biggest thing of like, am I going to shut you off because you're just talking about yourself the whole time? And you only like to listen to yourself talk. Because when it's like that type of person, I can't really relate. I never want to open up to that person. I hate that. I never want to. But I think the way I would open up is if I feel like that person can connect to me, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
If that person can, like, seems trustworthy, seems like they show actual interest in me as a person, and shows like has like respect, you know, because then if it's not all those things, I'd rather just not, you know.
It's not worth the time. Yeah.
I think it's the tone that someone comes at me, because so like I looked it up, and vulnerable means in danger or exposed to. So like I just imagine myself like in like a road rage type of situation, and it's like someone like cuts you off and flips you off, like they're coming at you with some kind of, you know, anger or something, and I'm gonna respond with that amount of you know, I'll yell at you too, I'll try and catch up even though I shouldn't. But or if someone comes up to you, like if it's just like someone on the street, and like if you're walking in New York City and someone's like, hey man, like I'm in a play, I got tickets, I'm trying to sell some tickets, I'd probably be like, oh, what's it about? No, I'm not gonna come, but you know, tell me a little bit about yourself. I would respond with the amount of, you know, if he's just like, you know what I'm saying, like if he's calm and talking in a cool voice. So it's like about the tone, you know.
Nice. Very solid answers.
Before I answer, can you read the card again one more time?
Sure. How does one earn your vulnerability?
I guess it's all about context. You know what I mean?
Right.
Earn the vulnerability. I don't know. A nice big smile. There you go.
There you go. You always want a friendly face when you're first
Yep.
meeting someone.
Can't deny that.
Sweet. Well, thank you guys. That's everything we had planned out for this episode. So if there's
Right.
anything you guys want to plug, like your album or any shows, this is your chance to do so.
Yo, stream our
Slime.
Slime. It's available on all platforms right now. We got Sugarcoat Deluxe vinyl. Sugarcoat
Ooh.
Deluxe is our EP. Go purchase some vinyl. We have a tour coming up in the fall. It is with bands like Forever Came Calling, Home Safe, Nominee, Death Lens, Handguns. Let's go. We will see you. We're coming to your town. You have no excuses. Get your tickets.
Very
And then one more show.
Oh, yes, that's right. Shout out. Oh, yeah, hold on. I got to check the flyer again. Make sure I'm not botching this band's name.
New Jersey, Booton, where I'm from. A boy named John, The Living Strange.
Living
Red House.
Strange.
July 30th.
very cool.
Lastly, I'm about to post a Polytalica shirts.
I like that.
Polytalica.
Love
Yeah.
it. It looks
Metalliana?
Oh,
Ooh.
I like Polytalica.
both
Yeah, I
of
like
them good.
Polytalica.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for having us, though. I
Yeah,
appreciate
thank you guys for
it.
coming
A lot of
on.
fun.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
real, thank you.
Great.
Of
You guys are
course.
welcome back anytime.
Thank you.
Literally.
Thank
Yeah, we hope to
Thank you.
catch you guys in New York one day.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely soon.
Absolutely.
Awesome. I'm gonna stop recording now.